Growing up, I always noticed that boys were picked first in gym class, even if the women were better than the boys at that stage. And this is when I started to notice that there was gender inequalities within sports. I played soccer for 18 years, and I have noticed that this has been um, an increased problem in sports, and not just with soccer. But I'm going to specifically talk about soccer. As humans, we witness and experience gender inequality every day, and I hope that the audience watching this, if you do notice this, you don't contribute to the cause, especially if you are an athlete. In the World Cup finals this year, England made it, and this is when the problem started to become aware around the country there that there was not an equal pay for men and women. The women of UK soccer have had to overcome many obstacles to get where they are today. The women's platform is far behind the men in the UK right now, and used to be as well. According to London Live, in the 1900s, the UK women were thriving in soccer, but then they were banned in 1921 because the FA stated that it was unsuitable for females to play. However, they were reinstated in 1971, but this caused them to have setbacks because they were not playing for all that time and weren't allowed to be recognized. London Live also stated that women's games are not as televised as men, so this can decrease advertisements of women's soccer and awareness just around the world, and especially in their country. London Live also said that the women in the UK have been playing in smaller stadiums, and this can't allow for as many people to attend and bring awareness. But they did get to play for the Euro finals, they got to play in the stadium that the men play in, which is good that it's starting to change. Although women are getting more recognition, the statistics are still very mind-boggling to me. The pay gap has not yet changed for equality between genders. And according to LinkedIn, the average female in the UK makes 27,000 to 35,000 euros. And the top paying player in the women's league for the UK makes less than the lowest paid player on the men's EuroLeague. Also, going into the World Cup, $152 million was the prize fund for the World Cup for the women, and $444 million was the pot for the men, which is a large gap. And this doesn't apply to players, it also can apply to coaches. 400,000 euros was made by the women's coach, and 5,000 euros was made by the men. And although I want to advocate for women's pay and equal pay, there are still some things that we must improve in order to get where we want to be. So the main thing we need to increase is more attendance, and this will help bring awareness and just more money into the sport for women, which can allow us to spend it on salaries or equipment that can increase their skills. So according to Sky News, the women in the UK only contribute to 0.5% of the Premier League's revenue. So if they increase this revenue, they can allocate and have more evidence to back themselves up. Also, continued success can help them, so then they can also advocate and have more evidence to just bring to the table. They have had great success in the past few World Cups. They have it every 4 years, and they've gotten the top 4, the top 3, and this past year they were runner-up. So they're starting to get more successful, which will help them advocate for themselves when bringing problems to the table. And one thing that I did realize is the women in the UK have only qualified 6 times for the World Cup ever, and the men have qualified 16 times. Although that success for the men hasn't been recent, it was more in the 1900s, this can still be used against them. Overall, the women are starting to gain more respect every year, and in the UK world, the men and women are still getting paid notably different salaries. But in summary, the women are far behind the men in the UK right now for soccer in terms of pay gap, but the long-term goal is equal pay. Excuse me. As college students on a college campus, we need to be aware of our surroundings and observe for gender inequality and speak up when we notice problems going on. As I'm about to graduate after being a college athlete, I want to advocate for all the upcoming female athletes in soccer to support them and know that they have a voice in their lives and their sport. Thank you.